today has probably been the quietest day of my week, actually. But it's been fine. It's busy, I'm trying as much as possible to wrap up all my end of year activities so that when I do go on leave, I can actually be on leave. Fingers crossed. Touch wood. So, so I'm hoping. But yeah, it's been good, Busy, planning for 2024, wrapping up 2023, all those kind of things.
Wow. 2024 is here already.
It is. I mean, I went somewhere, what was it? Yesterday, no, day before. No, it was day before yesterday, actually. And I got to the lobby and Christmas decorations everywhere. I was like, wow, okay. It's Christmas. I think the dryness and Hamatani weather that makes me feel like Christmas hasn't quite hit yet.
Yeah, but it's hitting very hard in the north already.
Right. No,
I spoke with my dad. He said, I said, sorry, there's still rain falling in the
Yeah, exactly. It's not dry at all. It's still very wet
very
and
moist.
So it's not feeling for me quite like, you come out and everywhere is dry and you see the fog, then you feel like you're in that sort of Christmas season. We're not quite there yet. But I mean, we're more than halfway through November, so technically we should get into the Christmas mood. Are we dirty in this December?
My darling sister. Outside is expensive.
It is incredibly expensive. I know.
If you want to dirty the December for my behalf, I will gladly show up. Just show me the venue. It's expensive.
No, I think this December will be a dirty inside.
Yes.
No December.
Dirty inside.
Get your food and just sit home, watch Netflix. No, I've been told that Netflix and chill is not what I think it is. So
yes,
eat your food and watch Netflix.
Because they changed the meaning for me. I say, so I didn't know that was the meaning.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I mean, it's we thank God. The year is coming, gradually to the end of the year, and it's just a lot of things that that sometimes you just wish certain things would have just been like that before. But hey, we're here.
We're thankful.
We're thankful, honestly, because again, you would also look back and say, if not for God, it would have been worse than
absolutely.
where it is. So just be thankful.
We can always be thankful for where we are, because it can always be worse.
It could be worse. It could be worse, honestly. But it's a good day. I'm grateful. Things are falling in place. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So today, what is the conversation? Something around cyber security.
Cyber fraud and cyber security.
Right? Especially around the festive season. So as we approach, today's quote is, as we approach the Christmas season, we should all be on our guard and take the practical cyber-aware actions to keep us safe as we work, shop, and socialize online. I mean, this is a very apt quote in line with the conversation today. So the festive season is a time for joy, celebration, and unfortunately, also a prime opportunity for cyber criminals to exploit unsuspecting individuals. So it's exactly 38 days to Christmas. Yeah. And today, we will be discussing the topic avoiding cyber fraud this Christmas season with Morakinyo and Animashaun, right? But first, let's quickly run off on a break. When we come back from that break, we want to see what we found in today's news.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Here are success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
All right, you're still watching Ways. World Prematurity Day, observed annually on November 17th, aimed to raise awareness, global awareness of preterm birth and its impact on babies, families, and healthcare system. This year's theme, Small Actions, Big Impact. Immediate skin-to-skin care for every baby everywhere. Highlights the critical importance of early skin-to-skin contact. Kangaroo mother care, that's what they call it now, for preterm babies and low birth weight babies. So happy pre-maturity day.
It's not the easiest of things to have preterm babies. A friend of mine, in fact, a few friends of mine had triplets, and I mean, the whole being in neo-NICU, it's tough, and then, you eventually get them strong enough to get out of the incubator. It's just a lot.
It's a lot
of work, yeah.
So now my sister with twins, they came out preterm, right? And imagine you've had the baby, you go, the baby is still in the hospital, but every time I see them now, I say, wow.
You don't remember, right? Like,
you don't even remember.
The development and,
technology.
The support and yeah, it's come a long way. So
technology. There's a niece of mine, she was born preterm. In fact, hers was even so, I think she was like 7 months or so, or 6 months, if I'm correct, right? So she stayed in the hospital for quite a while. In fact, they couldn't find the veins, so they had to pass through her head, then the feet,
the sole of the foot,
to feed her. I say, wow. Every time I see her, I say, whoa.
Yeah, I know it is a lot of work, but
it's a lot of work.
I mean, I think these days, one of the things that mentioned, the skin-to-skin contact, I think that is so
amazing.
Yeah, that's the word, right? Because I mean, in those days, you have a baby, they put the baby in a bassinet next to you. But when my son was born, literally, they just cleaned him up and plopped him on my chest. And this tiny thing just there, asleep. For the whole day, he was actually on my chest the entire day. So he was born around 1:10 in the afternoon. And he was on my chest until about 11 p.m. at night. Before, I think they had to go and draw blood from the sole of their foot, they have to take them away. That's when they took him away. That's the first time. But the entire day he was on my chest. Me, I was, you become like a bed and you're just lying there like,
okay.
What's going on?
Did this one happen to you in the hospital? So when I had my, and I think it's even for both children, like literally in the middle of the night I wake up. I want to check if they're still breathing.
I know.
Like literally,
we go through
motherhood is a blessing, and I wish for everyone going through maybe the wait period and all of that. I know your blessing will come. Absolutely. I watched this lady. I had not been following her, but I follow Kitchen Muse. I think maybe that's why I saw her feed. The Diary of a Kitchen something.
Oh, Diary of a Kitchen Lover.
Diary of a Kitchen Lover. I watched her story. It was so beautiful. I cried. Like I was sobbing and watching the video. I was just crying. I said, "Oh my God, this was so." I didn't know she was having trouble having a baby. Eventually the girl is here. I was so. It was such a beautiful story to watch. I mean, skin to skin is very, very effective, extremely effective, and it's even for babies that are not preterm.
Absolutely, because mine wasn't, but it was.
It's a must that once the baby comes out, the first contact is they put the baby on your chest.
Absolutely.
So happy World Prematurity Day. So what do you find for us, Uti?
So my story is around the closures that have been happening on with Third Mainland Bridge. So I mean, I think it was a few weeks ago they had mentioned that the roads were going to be closing, and then for some reason the bridge never closed. They kept changing the plans basically. So I think eventually the bridge stayed open, and then they closed off the ramp, the one that leads to Yaba. I think that's the Adekunle ramp, that if you were coming from the island going towards the mainland, on that side they had closed off the ramp. But then Lagos State government has now announced earlier today that there will be a temporary closure. So far it has been closed if you're coming, like I said, from the island to the mainland. The ramp, as particularly going into Yaba, that's the one that then connects you to Herbert Macaulay, has been closed. But now they've announced that it will be closed both inward and outward. So both into Yaba and out of Yaba. It will be closed from Sunday, 19th of November for 5 weeks until Friday, December 8th. And this basically, they're closing it to make sure that they're able to complete the ongoing construction works in the axis within the record time of 5 weeks. So the Lagos Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Oshiemi, mentioned this and has said that it will take 5 weeks. So they've put, the story goes on to talk about the alternative routes depending on where you're coming from, but it pretty much means you can either connect through Carter Bridge, go down Ikorodu Road, or Carter Bridge and go through the Oyingbo axis to get to Herbert Macaulay. But the information is all in the story. But the main thing is if you are trying to get to Yaba or out of Yaba, the ramps are closed.
No, see, I don't see Third Mainland Bridge closed, Third Mainland Bridge closed.
I
don't wonder where did they close, because I've been passing the Third Mainland Bridge.
They kept changing it. So initially it was going to close. Then they came back and said, oh, it'll be closed at night and at weekends. They never closed at weekends. I mean, I don't know if it closed at night.
It did not, because I passed there at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. and it was still...
So it didn't close. So we did that for probably like a week and a half. And then like one morning I was going to Yaba and the ramp was closed. So yeah, I guess.
Oh, okay. I never went to Yaba. I just go straight to Magodo.
Yeah, so I go to Yaba. So the ramp to Yaba has been closed. And now, so the outward was fine. So coming back from Yaba was always fine, but now they're closing both apparently.
Okay, so my story is Seun Kuti. So since we're talking...
Big bird.
Yes, so the big bird. Since we're talking cyber what's it called?
Cyber
fraud and just security and all of that. I thought this was an interesting conversation to have. You know how they make mouth on top behind keyboard? It's a case of I don't catch you. So I don't know if they can play the video, if the video is available, you know. Is the video available?
Yes. Your full name?
I'll say your full name.
My name is Solomon Idowu, and I'm a citizen of Chicago, United States. I live in Chicago. If anything happens to Seun in Chicago, I'll be responsible. If it comes from me, which it will never. Now,
After you... What do you mean?
If anything happens to Seun, I'm responsible.
Because of what? Because of what?
Oh, because of some miscommunication.
It's not a miscommunication.
And I threatened his life.
Exactly.
And now we are at the Kedja airport. If anything happens to him, I'll be responsible. Can we be friends?
We can't be friends.
No.
I like Joko. He said, can we be friends? Say, nope, we can't be. The guy they waste time. So if you had, I don't know if the other video is available.
What had happened?
So what had happened was, I think this particular guy had said some things online. He can't be like, say, go catch up today. Seun Kuti and him, they were at the airport.
Putting stuff online
about Seun Kuti, you know. And Seun Kuti was now at the airport. And he said, today, I don't catch you today. He said, you are not going to fly out of this country because you threatened my life. It was a death threat. It's like your mother is sharp online. You can't see the person. So the guy say, I'm going to make some phone calls. He was bragging at the first video. If let's say the content and say, guy,
you're still in Lagos.
You're still in Lagos. He said, I'm a citizen of the United States. I live in Chicago. I'm going to make some phone calls. They make mouth. So this was the second video. After, if you like say they don't humble the guy. No, but so the thing I'm trying to say is that you find a lot of people online.
Yeah.
You know, cyberbullying, you know, they talk about
Twitter streets of savagery.
I'm telling you, you need to really be careful what you say online about people, because sometimes you don't know where you go meet the person.
Collect hot slap. One or two.
One or two, based on one or two. Like literally, she will just, and you know, she will not spare the guy. He said, nah. He said, can we be friends? Say for what? No. He didn't even say, okay, because the guy is there. Because the guy was even trying to be careful. He didn't want to say. He said, say what you said. You know? Okay, I think this is the first video.
Nobody's taking your passport. You have case in this country. You're not going anywhere. Hello. Take away from this, bro. You won't go home.
Yes, I'm going home.
But
this is not going to end well.
That gentleman.
Fuck which guy? Don't make me make phone calls. I'm going home. Hold on one second.
Catch you.
I'm telling you, Seun now called the guy. He said, that death threat guy, I don't catch him. He said,
don't make me make phone calls. Well, he has apologized, right? He's apologized, and the only lesson I'm taking from this is don't think because you're behind a keyboard means that you can just do anything. Anything can hook you somewhere. So just be very, very careful when you actually talk online and respond online. Like that Blessing CEO now. It's calling all of us.
All you Benin people.
All of us Benin people. We are coming for you, Blessing CEO. When I saw a video, I said,
your ancestors, your oracles, everything.
But the funny thing, in all honesty and to her defense,
there's some truth to it.
There's a lot of truth to it. It might come off very harsh. But I remember, I think I've shared this story several times.
It's the generalization of it, I think.
Absolutely,
it's
the generalization that is the problem.
Yeah.
But I would say to you that one of the main reasons my father left Benin as a child to say he wanted to raise his children and live in a saner place was because of that, that Italo thing. It was a lot. So, there's some level of truth in what she's saying, right? It's just that a lot of people will not want to accept it, but it's the truth. A lot of times, people are linked to that lifestyle, especially they come from my fellow Bini people. It is where we accept it, but we are coming for you, Blessing. See you.
Let's hear whether Austin from Benin
we will agree. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back from that break, let's discuss cyber fraud. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, the festive season is a time of increased online activity, financial transactions, and emotional vulnerability, making it a prime target for cyber criminals. Avoiding cyber fraud during the season is crucial to protect against financial losses, damage to credit history, and emotional distress. By following simple precautions such as using strong passwords, avoiding suspicious links, and shopping from reputable websites, including reputable websites, individuals can significantly reduce their risk to becoming victims. So today we're asking, how can we avoid cyber fraud, this festive season? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8663. So I'll bring in Morakia in a minute. Uti, but quickly, what are you doing to just avoid all these things?
When they send you an email, don't click delete. If you are not sure, delete. If you are sure you are not sure, report and delete. Don't click on anything. That's for me, that's what it has always been. I think if it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. If it's a pop-up, it's probably dangerous. For me, that's just what it is. Look out for me, those little things like, are there woeful spelling and grammatical errors? Is this from a Nigerian? Sorry, is this from an African prince? Is there somebody that really needs? There's lots of different examples. These ones are sort of the more sort of comical ones, but then what is it called now? Particularly for people who work in organizations, emails are hijacked. The information that you even you put genuinely on social media. Mm-hmm. Somebody goes in there to farm information and then pretends to be your boss or pretends to be your CEO. So CEO fraud is another one. There's just all sorts of tactics. One thing I know for sure is that the fraudsters aren't sleeping. They are coming up with new ways every day. You've probably gotten an email to say your Apple password was, your Apple password has expired or your package is coming. All sorts of phishing type attacks that they try. And that's not even then to say, for example, on the financial side, if you're going to shop at this time of the year, I think a lot of us are used to shopping online now, whether it's via social media or via the internet itself. making sure that the site is secure. So sometimes you see the little padlock sign, or you see the HTTPS. These are just the little things that you can look out for when you are shopping on Instagram. Instagram is one of the easiest places to get scammed, because sometimes people see deals and it's really, really good. Or
it's too good to be. My sister fell victim.
Yes.
It was too good to be true.
Exactly.
How can they tell you snails?
I know a couple of people that are falling for that.
My God!
You know? So
How can they tell you snails? This,
Yeah.
that? It was so ridiculous, the price.
Absolutely. If it sounds too good to be true. And then even on social media as well, sometimes you have to be sure that the page is genuine. So technically, when I go onto a page, I try and sort of search, is there anybody I know that follows that page that I can maybe ask if they shopped with them before? Pages that obviously have very few posts and few followers, be careful. We're not saying it's fraudulent, but just be careful. And the ones that sometimes I find something, I think, oh, this is really nice. And then you go and search. I always Google things, and then you see, what's that place? Nairaland is always linked to scam. It's a scam. Beware. So those just checks that you can do to be careful before. Money is hard to come by these days. The economy is not smiling. There are debit alerts outside everywhere. Don't let debit alerts meet you inside your house.
Absolutely. Let me bring in Maraki Animashao is an experienced cybersecurity professional, an entrepreneur with a proven track record of successfully delivering projects. He is the subject matter expert, open banking, digital transformation, situational awareness and cyber threat intelligence, advanced threat attack patterns, and quantitative security risk analysis. You see, say we got the best, because as a day like this, you know, and he's joined us live in studio. Thank you so much, Marakinyo.
Thank you.
This is your second time on Waves, right?
Yes.
Well, you're meeting a new team today.
Yeah.
But I mean,
this call it as beautiful.
Oh wow! Thank you so much.
We'll take it.
We'll take it. I mean, like Uti rightly summed it up, right? This is the season where everybody's trying to shop online. Everybody's trying to just quickly get things done and all of that. And there's a lot of, what's it called? I think it's a busy season right now. So this is also the season where cyber people, they are out, you know, because they really want to close the year with a bang so that they can dirty the December well, right, on other people's expense. So, I mean, if we're talking about protecting ourselves, right, you know, becoming a lot more cyber security aware, to say these are the things I should just avoid this year, what are the things we'll be looking at? I mean, yesterday and today, my bank has not worked, you know. So at some point I was scared. I said, what's happening? I thought it was my issue. So I went to the banking hall. It was same thing. You know, I'm now hearing things like that. So in my head, I'm just doing thing. Are you sure somebody has not gone to attack these people's server or something, right? Literally, like, this is the period where some of these things will just be happening. So literally, if we want to say we want to be very conscious and avoid some of these traps, because it's not a thing of if, when they come, because they will come this season. It's definitive, it will come. So how do we go about that?
Okay, thank you very much, Uti. So first of all, I want to say that, Uwa. Uti is like an expert.
Oh yes.
You can see that she's serious about this business of not losing money to scammers.
I know.
You know, because
you can't catch me.
A lot of the things she said makes a lot of sense, and those are some of the things that people ought to know. But unfortunately, you find out that a lot of people don't know. And continuously, it keeps rising. You think that with time, that the number of people that fall victim will drop. But instead, what you see is a spike. And from last year to this year, there's been an increase again.
Wow.
Okay, so there are some statistics that boggle the mind. So for instance, last year, December, 2.5 billion naira was lost to cyber fraud. I'll repeat that. 2.5
billion.
I was going to say billion with a B.
Yes, with a big B. Okay, and then for those of us that are in the industry, it's a standard joke that even those figures are underreported.
Yeah.
Okay, so we expect that the real figures will be like ×2, maybe ×3.
Wow.
And that was just December last year. Okay, the interesting thing is that Christmas is, most people can't feel it in the air this year. But for those of us in the cyber security space and cyber fraud space, we're already seeing it. How do we see it? From statistics. Already, the figures have started climbing. Number of incidents, number of activities, everything is just started increasing. And usually, even if I don't know what season we are in, if you bring me those statistics,
I can tell you that this is
Christmas
December
coming.
just by the numbers. Oh wow!
Yeah, I can tell
Is
you
that
Christmas-
bad?
Yes, it is. You know, you see increases of, it can be less than 40 to 50% increase in the activity. You know, phishing emails will increase, and news for you. The days of
Wrong error, grammatical error. You know, I was just going to tell you
people are
that.
using AI now. So don't think that it's only people that are doing good that are using AI. They're using ChatGPT to craft
very clean email.
Very clean email.
There's somebody like Uti that will read it eloquently.
And
it will speak to your soul.
Yeah, it will resonate so where you feel like, this
can't be.
You know, so a lot is happening. I always tell people that those that are involved in cybercrime, they are not part-timers. A lot of people make that error. There are people who, for whom this is their business.
Absolutely.
You know, they resume, they strategize, they invest in this business, and of course, they are getting good returns. So that's the state of play, right?
So the question that I want to ask and launch into, and I love that you mentioned ChatGPT, because when we talk about, in fact, I was listening to a news report today that was talking about how pressure is being put on social media platforms to actually force their creators to say when content is AI generated, because now it's available to everybody. You know, whether it's something, I think it was in America, so it was like a year to the elections a few days ago, and they were talking about how they were showing lots of content where part of the videos never happened, they were all AI generated. So when we talk about cyber fraud, what does that AI technology, what does it open us up to? We've talked about all the ones we're used to, but what new risks should we be looking out for now that AI is in the game?
So AI brings a lot of advantage to the defenders, okay? Okay, so before, the defenders didn't have a chance, really. Okay, so the way I like to equate it is it's like a football game. You have one goalkeeper, you have 10 people trying to score against that goalkeeper. His chances are not very high, you know. So the attackers are more than the defenders, okay? But with AI now, what it does is it gives the defenders an opportunity to be able to do more in their defense. Okay, so if let's say 1,000 different people are trying to attack a facility or a data service I'm responsible for, I have to try and defend against that 1,000. Maybe I have a staff of 5, 10 to defend against 1,000. It's going to be pretty hard. But with AI now, we can actually deploy AI and use AI as our staff. So what AI does is that AI will do the preliminary filtering, and it has the capacity without getting tired, without having issues with his wife.
Yes, no emotional.
No, nothing. So AI every day, AI gives you the same level of consistency, you know, and is able to, you know, actually point you out to the things that you should pay attention to. So all the things that we would normally as experts have to filter through first to determine, okay, this one makes sense to look at and all of that. AI does the initial job, and then what we now need to pay attention to is what has actually been flagged, you know. So it makes our work easier. Yeah, but as I said, we are not the only ones using AI.
As you they use that to your opponent.
So they are using it for, you know, it's cyber fraud and cyber threats are getting more sophisticated. So for someone like Uti, I'm sorry to tell you that we are getting to a point where all those things you thought you knew and you could do, it won't work. Because the level of sophistication has gotten to a point where you definitely need to be an expert, more or less, in order to be able to say, this one is the one that is, this one is not. Because it's so close now. They are not going to send you a phishing mail now that's just out of the blue. It's going to be personalized. It's going to be from Uwa to Uti. If you get an email from Uwa to Uti, you're likely to read it. And that email will have some snippets of a conversation that the two of you had. So again, they do a lot of that kind of stuff, and they put you in a situation where it's actually very difficult for you to know. So for most of us, what we have to do is, yes, we are the first level of defense. You must have that level of awareness, at least, so that you won't be one of the low-hanging fruits. But beyond that, you also need to use technology. And there are different technologies now that are
available.
that
Okay,
make it
awesome.
a bit easier.
Awesome. We're going to touch on that technology, but let's just go out on a very short break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we're having an amazing chat, right, on avoiding cyber fraud this Christmas season with Morakinyo Animashao. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Now, I mean, when I heard you talk about you are using technology, they say that they use technology. I'm just thinking in my head, where's the escape route for the common people like us that are not like Oti? So how do we start to access some of these tools that you've talked about? Is it something you can readily probably install on your phone, or would you need to now have like proper consultations with experts like you to say, please, come and help me put up a structure? I mean, again, I would like to also touch on small businesses, right? How do they protect themselves, from all of these, frauds and all of that? What would be the quick things to do?
Okay, so the first thing you need to do is add the things Uti said. Okay.
Know all those
you
basics.
You have to do those basics. If you don't do those basics, then we can't build on top of that. But after all that's been done, then you need to go to the next stage, Because again, the way I like to look at it is when you do those basics, it's like you wound up your car, you're not leaving your door open. So those are the basics you're doing. Okay, but beyond that, if there's somebody that's bent on getting into your car, then you need a higher level of security to deal with those.
So like put bulletproof windows and all of that.
Those are, and then that again will depend on the kind of assets you have. There's no point, raising the bar when it's not necessary. Okay, so if you know that you've got assets that are valuable, you've got your bank account has maybe a couple of millions and stuff like that, then you need to begin to use technology. So there are technologies, for instance, that will allow us to tell the difference between Uti and UWA. So even if UWA picks up Uti's phone, has Uti's credentials, and tries to use it, there's technology that will say, yeah, everything is ticking boxes, but it's not
still not
person.
Uti.
Okay, so there are things on our phone, and thank God for that, for them gyrometers and some other things on our phone that actually capture data that is specific to each of us. Most of us do not realize these things. Yeah, unique behavior, the way you tie. Someone like me, I'm two-handed. Someone else is like this. All of those things are captured, and there's now technology that can take all of that data and use it for the sake of cyber security. Takes that data and is able to differentiate between UWA and Uti. So if you have something like that, running at the background, one of the things it does for you is that even if somebody gets your credential, they still won't be able to clean out your account.
But this interesting thing you just said about phone and tracking. Sometimes when I see those things, when I download certain apps and they'll tell you, would you like us to? I say no. Everything I say, don't allow. Because I feel like if they start to track me like that, yes, it will be good. It will be helpful. So, but I just feel like that's too much, for you to just be knowing every single thing that I'm doing on that. So most of the time, I decline all those kinds of requests. Is it a good thing?
And it's wise. Okay, it's wise to decline unless you're sure you want to use it. So if something is just asking you, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, you should decline unless you know specifically what purpose that service is going to be used for, and you know the benefit that you expect from it. Okay, so that's what I tell people. I do the same thing you do. I decline. But if I understand that, okay, this is the purpose why this is being asked, and it will be used for this purpose, and these are the benefits for me, then I'll accept. Okay, so some of those data, the interesting thing is, okay, there are some services that we are building, for instance, that take your data but cannot identify you as an individual. Okay, so the data is anonymized. It just knows that, let me put it this way, it knows that the person that has the data is not the person that's using it. But it doesn't know who the person that has the data is. It doesn't know that it's Uti or Izoti or Uwa. But it just knows that it's not the same person that owns this that's using it. Okay, so those are the kind of data. So for instance, there is data regarding even your phone, your device, you know. Every device has a fingerprint. Okay, so if somebody, for instance, takes your SIM card and inserts it in another phone and wants to carry out services, if you're using a technology that recognizes fingerprints, it will reject it because it realizes that that's not the fingerprint of that SIM card, of the device the SIM card.
So it's tied to the SIM card.
So it knows that this SIM card that was being used on a service previously, the fingerprint of the device has changed. And then if the fingerprint of the device has changed, why has it changed? Then it will block that service. Okay. And with that kind of thing, people that lose their phones and they remove their SIM cards, toss their phone somewhere, use their SIM cards for transactions, those kind of things can be
Won't
stopped.
fly.
I mean, it's so interesting. It just shows the amount of thought. I think we all don't stop to think about how much our lives are embedded in these devices and how much of our data is in these devices. I don't think we actually stop to think about it. There was a movie I watched a few days ago. I think it's called Missing. And this young girl's mother went to Vietnam or one of these countries with a partner, and they didn't turn up at the airport. And this girl tracked the whole, through, it was a very interesting movie. Through her Google, through their accounts, she was seeing the locations,
Find my phone,
where he
all those,
went. And I mean, it was literally things in Google that I literally was watching the movie and going, pause.
Wait to
Yeah,
check
your
on
This thing is tracking me to this extent, and it was there. And I thought to myself, wow. So when you're saying all of this now, right, there's privacy concerns on one side, and then there's protection. So I have to find the balance that I'm comfortable with. And I think that, like you said, is tied to the type of assets I want to protect. But from a layman's perspective, I know that we've long gone past the standard, what's that thing now? Is it antivirus software? So what kinds of tools or solutions are out there? Because I guess that's the world that you are in, building different solutions of different kinds.